Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Wednesday show. I'm Hammer, and I'm joined by two of my favorite Minions hosts, Jen T. Maxey.
Hello.
And Terry Diamantis.
Hello.
How you doing, Jen?
I'm good. How are you?
I am well. Terry?
Yeah, I'm all right.
Oh, I was expecting you to say yes. Glad to hear you're both okay. Actually in a pretty good mood. Been sick the last couple of days, just general stomach stuff bothering me.
Yeah.
But ever since yesterday evening, whatever was bothering me is apparently not bothering me anymore. So I'm in good spirits because I'm not sick for a change. So that's cool stuff. Before we get into the topic, let's go ahead and check who's in chat tonight. Starting on Rumble. I have to ask you, Jen. I don't count Hammer. What's that about?
Oh, well, I'm a host, so I don't count as being first.
Oh, I was like, I was like, did I miss some context here? You don't count me as what? What don't you count me as? I'm a human. I count as being. All right. Anyway, also over on Rumble, Tier. Oh, what is that? Here was the first person, and then Cannibalistic Wizard. Hail Hydra.
I just like that Hammer said tier. What is that?
Well, they were two separate sentences. It was just something weird on my screen happened after I said that. We all know tears here.
Yes.
And I'll leave it at that. Cannibalistic Wizard after that. Green Badger, not outdoors. And then over on, oh, wait a minute. Did I get everybody? Yeah, everybody. Over on YouTube. First person was our Monday night host, Mr. Adam. Hello, sir. And Kiever Dam says she can't talk, but she's here in spirit. Hey, sweetie. And Kefki is in the chat. Hug. Gotta do that with Kefki. She's awesome. And then who else? Green Badger Outdoors over on YouTube. Poppy, there's somebody I haven't seen in a long time, is in chat. Uchi Constance in chat. Hey Camel, how's it going? And of course we'll have people rolling in as the night goes on. We've got a couple of topics to cover. Just go ahead, Jen. You want to say something? I can hear it.
It's just because I'll forget if I don't.
Okay, say it.
But before I hopped over to prepare to watch our show, I was ending with the Polydub, version of the AAA.
Oh, him.
And they were covering this story about these orcas in Scotland that were attacking the boats, and so I pointed out that at least they weren't trying to dick flash the boat, like orcas like to do that. They like to just flash their penises, and then it kind of looks like Nessie is all over the place. And then I thought about it, was like, Sinatra, screw your horse cock. I got my minions of orc Nessies everywhere stalking your boat. So now I have this urge to find somebody with skills of memeing, so I can get a orca dick meme to chase Sinatra with. You're welcome.
I'm correcting something in OBS. There's something going on with. I might have to redo my screens, but
You're
there's
not
something
invisible, Mash. Were you?
Something weird going on with my avatar. I don't know what the hell's the deal, but
No.
summertime. Every time we go live, it changes my avatar to just the flag, and that's it.
Yeah, black circle.
So I have to go back in and manually fix it. So give me a. Talk amongst yourselves while I fix this real quick.
So there it goes. I just fixed it.
Yeah, on YouTube now I have to fix the Rumble.
Ah, fair enough.
It's not hard to fix. It's just that I have so many things on my screen. It's hard to keep track of which one's which to actually. I shouldn't have to do this at all. Here, Rumble's fixed now. All right, so that's all taken care of. Tonight's topics. Pearly. I bet most of you can probably pick up that I'm talking about Pearl Davis. And her last outrageous tweet. which generated a little battle on Twitter for me today. Then Affirmative is the impending SCOTUS decision on affirmative action, which by all rights should happen tomorrow. It was supposed to, I thought it was going to happen Tuesday, so did Scribe, but apparently their session ends Friday, so they pretty much have to do it tomorrow or it's not going to get done at all. So I'm not sure what's going on there. Then finally, Pearly is really a reference to a video I saw today of a brown bear attacking a group of photographers. And it kind of sparked a discussion about how do I say this? What happened and how that would be different depending on where you are and what actually did happen. But we'll go over that in more detail. And then finally, Bossy I got into kind of a discussion about who cares about their employer, about a person more, their employer or their spouse.
That seems like a fairly short conversation.
It could be, but there's people on both sides of the argument. So I got into discussion with more than one person about it. And it's just something to talk about. Like I said, we don't really have to get in these topics. They're just there in case we run out of other things to talk. And with me blabbering on like a wild man, we can certainly never get to any of that stuff. So that's certainly happened before. But yeah, I mean, most of the things I bring on the show for topics are just things that I ran into on Twitter.
Yes.
Because
I've noticed.
Yeah, because I mean, they're easy topics to discuss, and even if you're not a Twitter person, you can still have an opinion on whatever those topics are. So even for people who are not Twitter addicts like myself, and admittedly an addict, it's perfectly reasonable to mine Twitter for all that it's worth. I mean, we could certainly go out to CNN and talk politics, but or Fox News or whatever. Who really care? The only other thing I could talk about, and even this came from Twitter, is there's been a lot of polls on Twitter about who would you vote for if you're a Republican, and and I take part in them, and just about every poll is like 85% Trump. It's like from different people too. I mean, I saw one from like Zuby was one. I think I saw one from Cat Turd. Just random people from time to time putting out who would you vote for kind of things, and every single one of them every time is way over on Trump. I'm like, really?
You know what I think it is? I think the people that like DeSantis would vote for Trump if they had no other choice, but the people who like Trump only like Trump.
It's it's not just that. So as much as I'm anti the grooming that's coming out of the LGBT community, I'll admit that some of what Ron DeSantis is saying is actually taking it a little too far. Like he is actually talking about taking stuff away from the adult side of the equation, and that attacks people who would be like Blair White, who was an adult when she decided to do the shit she decided to do. Which is a different story from pushing shit that shouldn't be appropriate for children on children.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people are looking at that and they're like, okay, listen, we don't actually think that we have some kind of say in what other people do with their own life. It's when it affects children or it's promoting something that's probably not a good thing to promote. That doesn't mean you stop people from doing that kind of stuff because they're still going to do it. They were already doing that. Like
I can see the argument where like the doctor has sworn a vow to do no harm. So if someone comes in saying, I feel like a woman shot my dick off, I can see that the physician is actually duty bound to say no because that's not going to have any medical benefit.
Yeah, but on the other hand,
you're basically saying, please mutilate me. And the doctor should say, no, you need mental help, not a surgeon.
Yeah, but on the other hand, Terry, like before they had doctors who were okay with that performative surgery, because it was plastic surgery before. It was acknowledged that it was plastic surgery. they were going underground to do this kind of stuff. So they were getting it done from places that were more dangerous. Do I think it should be forced on all hospitals? Just the same as you shouldn't force people to bake a cake for you. There's still people who are willing to do that kind of stuff for you. Do I think that the system...
The whole idea of if you don't make it legal, people will do it anyway. Well, in that case, why have any laws? Of course, people are going to break the law, but you have laws so that you can punish the people that do.
That's not my point. That's not my point at all. I'm saying that there are going to be people who want to get it done, who are going to go and get it done. There were already people who were willing to perform this surgery. The thing is making sure that it is being done on people who actually have the shit that they're claiming to have. Like, it shouldn't be an I go in and automatically I get all the drugs, I get all the surgery. It should never be that. The system is already, like, there's already people in the system telling you that it was already being fucked with. That's the stuff I don't mind attacking, because it's unethical to do this on people who are like, you've got detransitioners. Like, there were already people coming back and being like, okay, this was so rushed. So I get putting a slowdown on it. But there were already people who were willing to do this performative surgery who were able to do it safely, at least by their standards. It's not pushing that stuff on children or being dishonest about what it is when you're pushing it on parents. And it's about not doing that kind of stuff when it comes to mental health. Like, there's so many things that are wrong with that system, but you can't take that and then attack adults who have actually gone through that system, who understand that it's fucked up at the moment. They're like, yeah, we don't want it like that because we understand that it could be a big, massive problem. This is like the 0.001% of the population that's been co-opted by a bunch of trenders.
I honestly don't think gender transition surgery should be a thing. I still see it as mutilation. If someone comes in saying, please mutilate me, the doctor should say no. Someone who wants that done needs a psychiatrist rather than a surgeon. I'm uncomfortable with someone saying, you know what, my left arm, I don't like it, chop it off, doc. It's like, no, the doctor should say no.
There is a strange thing, because gender dysphoria is a DSM-5 disease. So is there's also a mental disorder or disease that says that I should be disabled. They're both diseases, except for one is acted upon and one is not.
Right.
So,
and I don't think either should be acted upon.
Yeah. We kind of agree in opposite ways. If a doctor, if you have either one of these diseases and you go to a doctor and the doctor says you have this disease and you spend time working on it and are unable to get past this disease, it's a disease that's going to be with you, can't help it, then I think if you want to get your arm cut off, get your arm cut off. You want to get your dick cut off? Get your dick cut off. I mean, I can't imagine actually being a medical professional and performing the surgery. But if all of the other options have failed and you're still miserable.
See, I think the patient has a right to request it. I just think the doctor should have an obligation to say no, because they've sworn to do no harm. And this is like directly harming. Like, if you cut someone's arm off, there's no medical benefit to that.
Yeah, but even that has caveats, though, with that. So,
like, what stops the guy who wants his arm removed from going in and just buying an industrial saw and doing it himself?
But that comes back to my previous point. Yes, if you make it illegal, people will do it anyway. That doesn't mean you don't make a law against it. Yeah. Otherwise, why make any laws? What's the point?
I would certainly make a law.
We're going to murder anyway. Let's just make murder legal. It's like it doesn't work that way.
It's not like that, though. Like, that's why I would rather a system where the removal of the arm is the very last step. Like, we have kids who on repeat. Like, it's every day there's a new TikTok where some kid is basically outright telling you they walked in, they got the drugs, they walked out, they walked in, they got the surgery, they walked out. It should never be like that.
Yeah.
No,
Ever.
definitely not.
Ever.
Yeah.
And that's the very first start that should have told you that there was something going on. You know, because that's not what even Hammer and I are even saying. That isn't even what we're saying. Like, we're not even that extreme. We're kind of more like, yeah, let that be the very last step. Like, if you're at the point where you're going to go and cut your own arm off with a saw, then maybe that's when a doctor should step in and that's the very last step.
Yeah, I think we're all agreeing at different points, but we're all agreeing on this.
No, but like if the guy is going to take a bandsaw to his own arm, that's when you put him in like confinement and like make sure he doesn't have any access to sharp objects. You don't just say, well, he's going to do it anyway. Let's do it for him. That's absurd.
Well, I don't know if it's absurd, but do people have autonomy to do what they want? If I want to go in my shed tomorrow and cut my finger off, is that going to be illegal? Am I going to get punished?
No, I don't think it should be illegal for you to harm yourself. I'm just saying the doctor should not facilitate the harm. Like, if someone wants to take a bandsaw to their own arm, okay, they're crazy. And if a doctor knows about it, they should take steps to prevent it. But it shouldn't be illegal to sever your arm. It's just stupid.
See, that's why I place that stuff in, like, it's mental health, and then it's mixing plastic surgery with doctors. Because, like, say the finger is the basic one. Well, that is actually a plastic surgery move, by the way. There is a trend for some people to remove like a digit of their finger.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, the Yakuza. The Yakuza do that, you know?
Well, it's not just them. Like, there was actually a trend of kids removing just the basic knuckle. You know, like, there's weirder trends that I've seen kids do. Like, I don't encourage it, but they're gonna do it. So, like, they go to plastic surgeons who, yeah, some of those guys are questionable too. Yeah, some of them are.
Like Pop Tart in chat was saying the same could be said for most plastic surgery. I wouldn't have a problem if the only plastic surgery allowed was reconstructive. Like, if you've been like disfigured in an accident, then you can have plastic surgery to like repair the damage. But I'd be fine if like you couldn't just go in and get your tits sliced open and bags of silicone shoved inside. If that's the natural consequence of what I'm advocating, I'm fine with that.
Like, the thing is, Terry, is I think the problem with what's going on is it's going to be a lot of regret in the future because a lot of this stuff is being performed by Frankenstein doctors. They are performing a little bit Frankenstein because this is new science. You know, like, the closest thing that I've pointed out was The Sopranos or maybe Eunuchs, when the only thing they really kind of removed was the balls. But even those came back telling you that it wasn't a good thing to do to your body. So the idea that they're just doing all this stuff, like, yeah, we removed the tits for cancer. Sometimes they get removed for cancer. But that doesn't mean that the outcome of those women was necessarily good without the body part. And that's the stuff that I don't think that the doctors are being honest about that. I really don't.
There's no doubt that there's a gray area here. Because if somebody is predisposed to getting breast cancer and they remove their breasts, did they do something bad to themselves or did they do something good? The same can be said for chemotherapy. Yeah, you're poisoning the body, and that poison could kill somebody, but it could also kill the cancer and make them healthy. So there's a lot of gray area.
Is there a perceivable like medical benefit? So chemotherapy, yes, there's the risk of death, but there's also the benefit. Like, there's a reason it's a medical treatment that is currently in use. It has medical benefits. It just has risks. That's different from I'm going to cut my arm off because I don't like it.
It's like another example, and yet again, this is a different surgery, but say someone in your life needed a kidney and you decide to donate that. There is no doubt that loss of kidney does affect you. Like, you'll be okay. You've got one left. But everybody that I've heard say that, yeah, that's a donation that they made there's no mistake that they've made a big sacrifice for somebody that they really love. That's why I consider them to be almost heroes in my mind for that sacrifice.
Yeah, but there's a medical benefit to that. It's just not for the person losing the kidney. There is still a perceivable medical benefit to taking a kidney from a healthy person who has one to spare and putting that into someone who needs it. There's still a medical benefit there.
But that's the thing.
A physical benefit as opposed to a mental benefit.
Yeah.
And that's why I that's why I point that one out, because I'm not discrediting that, nor am I discouraging people from making that sacrifice. But it's anybody who's made that sacrifice, the doctors are telling them, the person who's accepting the kidney is also aware that person has put themselves, like, they're not going to have the same health that they had before. They just are never going to have the same health that they had before. You know, and that's the honesty thing. Like, you don't just sign up a bunch of stupid autistic kids. Sorry.
But
I think that's who they're targeting. Like, I keep getting this like theory in my head that I can't prove because, you know, it's Alex Jones level. That it's just them trying to weed out the autistic kids.
There is some proof coming out saying that autism is more likely in people who are getting these surgeries. So,
no, for sure, they're far more susceptible to the brainwashing and propaganda because their social calibration is not as good as, you know, a regular person's is.
I don't agree with that yet, Pop-Tart. I actually don't. Like, I know people say, like, you lose your boobs, you're fine. I actually don't think so. Like, I really think we should be going back to the women who lost their boobs because of cancer and then asking them, how's your life doing? Because I bet you anything, they don't tell you all the problems that they have, because most people don't. They don't give you the list of all the shit that they deal with after the fact. They're just happy to be alive. And that's, if I had to deal with a little bit of a less of a, you know, my life expectancy, you know, is better because I lost my boobs because of cancer. Yeah, I would take that. That doesn't mean my overall health is better because of the loss.
Yeah. No, like I'd be fine if someone had a breast removed because of cancer. If they then had reconstructive surgery to, like, it won't be like a plastic surgery to like recreate the missing breast. That's fine. That's what plastic surgery should be used for. I have no problem with that.
I mean, that's all aesthetics too. Like, I'm just saying that I don't know that the loss of the body part is necessarily as healthy as they put out. But if you're just,
no, of course it's not.
But if you're replacing it just for the aesthetics, for something like that, yeah, of course. You know, it's like giving somebody a wig for the cancer. Like, yeah, of course.
Some body parts are more dangerous to lose than others. Even if you're giving away a kidney, what happens if the kidney that you have left gets kidney disease? Now you're looking for a kidney. So yeah, that could be very dangerous. Breasts, well, you can't breastfeed anymore. You know, if you don't have a breast, so that would be a thing. And even replacing the breast with silicone, it's not the same. I'm sorry.
No, but it won't be the same. But I could understand because you don't want to look like a freak, and having one tit would make you look odd to the outside world. So I can understand for like self-esteem reasons, you don't want to make yourself look disfigured, so you have a prosthetic to make you. It's the same with like people with like prosthetic legs, right? It doesn't do the same as a regular leg, but it's there to sort of make you look more normal to the outside world.
The initial problem is that in general, men end up being hurt the most when it comes to gender transition surgery. But women are hurt first because hormones permanently lower the voice.
That's
and you can't undo that. It's permanent. It stays no matter what you do. Doing the initial hormones to men don't change the voice at all. It doesn't become female voice. They retain their male voice. So initially, women are hurt the most. But once you get the surgery, then men are hurt the most.
I would question that now because the bottom surgery shit that they're trying to pull. Like they take a good sized layer of one or both of your forearms, and then they use that to make a twisty penis, which they create a urethra for, that they connect to. Like they're playing Frankenstein with people.
Sure.
And like I said, like that's why I'm like, I'm okay when it's not that I'm okay, it's just I don't have the bodily autonomy to tell other people what to do with their body once they're an adult. I really don't. But with the kids, I just want these adults to be really honest with them. Like I for no instance do I think Buck Angel is lying about her experience. You know, when she talks about what she went through, all the shit that she went through. Here's the thing, though. She doesn't look like she's half dead like Elliot Page. She actually looks healthy. Like, the only thing that she's really done that looks like it did something was the breast removal. And even then, she still looks healthy. So, you know what? I give her kudos to him. I do mean to give Buck credit because he did do a good job. I'm just autistic, so I can't.
I'm not terribly concerned about the pronouns he or she. I mean, actually, there's an argument for both. It doesn't really matter. I'm not fussed either way.
But Buck seems to be one of the nicest out of the lot. I think he would forgive me for being autistic.
No, I typically just go by what they look like. So for Buck, I'd say he, just because I look at him and he looks like a guy. Technically, it is a woman, but like to my eyes, that's a dude. So I would just reflexively say he to refer to Buck.
Listen,
the same way I use she for Blair White.
My first memory of Buck Angel, and I would say this to his face, was Monkey complaining about her porn, because at no point did he ever want to see her looking like a dude.
He shouldn't have sorted out then.
Right? Oh. So it was that description. I'm like, yeah, I can't have that when if I think about somebody in better context. So if Buck Angel ever watches that, I'm sorry, but Teen Monkey's very good at descriptives.
On a totally unrelated note, I would like to thank Spudgun. Remember that quote I kept saying with I'm not a pilot, but if there's a helicopter in a tree, I know it's not meant to be there? Spud told me which comedian said that. It was Steve Hughes. And Steve Hughes is an absolute legend. So if you get a chance, check out his stand-up on YouTube. He's fucking brilliant. So thank you, Spud. I knew I'd heard it from somewhere, and apparently it was Steve Hughes.
Make a note in my notes about that. So after the show, Steve Hughes.
Yep.
Okay. I'll make a note on my screen to check him out after the show.
His most famous bit is "You're offended, so what?" Where
I like that.
No, like that's his point. Is like, see, it was done in the 90s, so he's talking to the Christian conservatives, but the same message applies to the censorious left as well. He's basically saying, yeah, okay, you know what happens when you're offended? Nothing.
You know, I told a hard lefty that like a year and a half ago that they reminded me of the West Baptist Church. And he was so upset. He was like, how? I'm like, well, you basically hound everybody who doesn't have a similar belief to you with signs that are like heinous. You basically point fingers at everybody and say heinous things like you're a Nazi this, you're anti that. It reminds me of the West Baptist because they're their own little cult. Mm. You know, I wouldn't even be surprised if they haven't started their own inbreeding program.
Guys, notice by any chance the stability of the stream tonight?
Oh, God. Mm-hmm. I don't even look at that thing unless you point it out. But yeah, that's pretty jagged.
It's funny how last week, everything I did was exactly the same as I did this week. Last week was a straight bar the entire night. I've done nothing different, and look at what we're getting. And really, Rumble is I'm looking at the health of the streams on OBS, and they're saying, your machine's fine. I'm having a problem at sending it to the people publishing the stream. So both OBS on that's connected to YouTube and OBS that's connected to Rumble are both complaining, saying, I'm sending, but I'm not getting anything back from these people. So I don't know if there's something wrong at Comcast, so it's getting to them and then it's dropping, or if something else is happening. But everything else on my system, all the measurements I have, are all saying there's nothing wrong with me. And I checked the stream before we ran tonight. I did a speed test, and it was perfectly normal.
I don't know.
So, whatever.
And Spud just dropped a link in chat if you want to watch Steve Hughes' stand-up. He's
okay.
Put that in chat.
I just recently found Jimmy Carr.
Oh, Jimmy Carr is awesome.
Oh my God. He is a king.
Well, I should say he was awesome. He's kind of turned wokey, lefty, loony.
Has he?
Recently. Yeah.
The stuff I've been watching, man, is just brutal. He says stuff that I thought to myself, Jesus, dude, how are you still like alive? Why aren't you like doxxed and killed by now? You know?
Well, yeah, his old stuff, he was very, very edgy, shall we say.
Ooh. Yeah.
But, yeah, no, Steve Hughes, I actually rediscovered through the podcast of the Lotus Eaters because Sargon interviewed him. I was like, I remember this guy. And so I watched that and it's like, oh, he's got a YouTube channel. Oh my God. So I just watched like all of his videos like a year or two ago. That's probably where I saw the helicopter thing.
Spud says in chat, Owen Hammer, I need to do a stress test on my PC to run up the CPU temperature. All right.
I think he's saying, how does he do that?
Okay. I get you. There's to quickly get off onto an IT thing here. There's two good ways of doing it. There are two programs out there. One of them is Prime 95. Prime 95 will very, very, very intently stress your CPU to the point that if it's weak, it can cause it to fail entirely. So
maybe it's too extreme.
Yeah, it is. It will just nail everything. Everything your CPU can do, it will try to get out of your machine if possible. The other option is Cinebench. Yeah, Cinebench. I don't use it very often, so I barely remember the name. Cinebench is another good test to getting your CPU up. If you look at people who do testing for computers online, like websites or YouTube channels like JC2Cents or Gamers Nexus or somebody like that, they usually use Cinebench to test out how well a CPU is going to work because it still allows the CPU to protect itself if it gets too hot. Prime 95 seems to not disable, but it gets the machine so hot that it never has a chance to save itself and it melts. Cinebench will put you right to the Cinebench will put you right to the top, but it won't impact the CPU's ability to take care of itself. So, of the two, I recommend running Cinebench. If the machine stays cool and runs fine, and you really want to push it, then go to Prime 95 and see what happens. If Prime 95 starts getting high in temp, just stop it. Don't let it keep going. Because you may have to be buying a new motherboard and CPU. So, anyways, yeah, my favorite comedian for a long time, to some extent, is still Eddie Izzard, because it's a very intellectual humor. It's not guffaw funny, although he has had a few specials and stuff like that were laugh out loud funny. By far, Dressed to Kill is his best stuff, but it's and Chappelle's great, and there's plenty of good comics out there. But what got me about Jimmy was I found myself laughing, and then as soon as the laugh went by, my first reaction is ooh.
Yeah.
It wasn't just ha 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 funny, next joke, ha 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 funny. It was funny. He probably shouldn't have said that. And then funny, and then he probably shouldn't have said that. So it kind of makes you a little uncomfortable, but it's still crazy.
So.
Still crazy funny. So
if I had to pick a favorite comedian, I'd probably go David Mitchell. I'm sure.
Don't even know who that is.
Oh, he's an English comedian. He he was in a TV show called Peep Show. Well, he made a TV show called Peep Show, I guess I should say, with his friend Robert Webb, and then they also had a radio show and a TV show called That Mitchell and Webb Look. And yeah, he was on QI a lot. He's just very, very sort of quick and very sort of witty and funny. So if I had to pick a favorite, I'd probably go him.
Jen, do you have a favorite comedian?
Not really. But if I were to show support to, I don't know, should I be lame and throw support to a Canadian? Russell Peters. Because you're not allowed to tell. Oh, okay. Well, you're not allowed to tell Russell Peters jokes in Canada.
Wow.
I like him already.
So he's technically a child of immigrants. He's from India. So a lot of his jokes were based off of his family and his dad. So he would make jokes like, my dad likes to have barbecues where, he's hosting a barbecue for the whole block, but he's making rice on the barbecue and he's cursing because, like, damn it, if this doesn't work properly, the kind of jokes that if I told it, I'd probably go to jail. But he was funny.
No, I do know who Russell Peters is. When you said the name, I was thinking, is that the Indian guy? And then you confirmed that yes, it is. Yeah. So yeah, I do know him.
Yeah.
Well, I'm American centric, so I'm going to know an American comic, with the exception of my favorite, which of course my brain is not going to let me remember his name now. Eddie Izzard, who is a French-born English person.
Yes. I knew he was English. I didn't know he was French-born, but
yeah, his parents are both French, but he was born in England.
Cool.
So that's part of his stand-up routine. He says, "I did my stand-up in France, and they don't have stand-up in France." And everyone just looks at me and says, "Quoi?"
I think for the most part, I prefer English comedians to American. I think I grew up with them. Like, there was a lot more of them on Australian TV than American ones, at least when I was growing up. It's different now, but yeah. So I mean, like David Mitchell, Robert Webb, Jimmy Carr, Ben Elton. Oh, I loved Ben Elton as a kid. Ricky Gervais is great. So like all the English, like all
Ricky Gervais is great. I agree on that one. Yeah. There's amongst the late night talk show hosts, or they're pretty generally awful. But there used to be a late night host on NBC. Is it NBC? No, CBS. Craig Ferguson.
Yeah, I like him.
Yeah, he's funny, but he's not funny like most of the other comics. He's much more witty, and he's the fastest comic I've ever seen.
Yes,
like
he's very good at that.
Like, it's okay to stand up on stage and spell out material that you've written and you've tested in small clubs and all that kind of stuff, and you know it's going to get a laugh, and you know the pacing for it and all that kind of stuff. But he'll have a guest on and they'll say something and he can instantly make a laughing joke out of it. Right there, right then, right away. That's a talent that you don't see in a lot of comics, to be that witty, that quick.
Oh yeah, no, it's very hard to do.
Yeah, and he still is that guy. He's very. You go back and you watch some of his shows on CBS. You'll find some of them on YouTube, and it's mostly with women because he does a little bit of flirty flirt, and I think that's when he's on his top of his game, is when he's being flirty, that he can come back with quick one-liners back in. And it's just outstanding. So I mean, if I had to say the best comedian as far as how fast they are, I've never seen any. And it's funny too, because he had Steve, what was the name of that host that comedian who talks in a deadpan? Steve, and he's Stephen Wright. Stephen Wright was on his show as a guest, and he paid him that compliment on the show. From one comedian to another, live on the show, said, "Of all the comedians I've known in my life, you are the fastest." And you kind of looked at Craig's face when he said it, because you're watching the show to watch him. But if you watch it on YouTube and you've seen it before and you have a chance to look at Craig instead of concentrating on what Steven is saying, Craig kind of stops, like he doesn't know what to say.
Yeah,
It's like a huge
compliment.
Yes, it's a huge compliment, and he doesn't know how to initially take it. He just kind of freezes for a second, and then after a few seconds, he's like, "Oh, thank you very much," and he's all very gracious and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But to have him come on there, and his last guest was Jay Leno.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, another. I mean, Jay Leno's a pretty funny guy, all things being considered. As far as late night talk show hosts, he was probably the funniest. Maybe Jimmy Carson. Yeah, maybe. But I think of all the late night show.
I never saw Carson, but I used to think Conan was pretty funny. I preferred Conan to Leno, but I mean, yeah, they were both decent.
Conan's like awkward humor.
Yeah, but
because
he's good at it.
He's not particularly good looking, and he's got red hair, and he's kind of goofy, so he plays to his strength. Absolutely. That's all awkward. Yeah, he does. So, how did we get off on comedians? Was that my fault?
Because I thanked Spud for telling me.
Oh, Steve Hughes.
His name.
Gotcha.
Well, it's not a bad conversation. Like even as you were talking, it made me think about how many British comedians I used to follow. It's one of those things. It's either American or British, and then Canadians just kind of slip in there, and they're just like, "Hey, we're here too."
That's a good question. Are there any standout Canadian comedians?
Kids in the Hall.
Yeah.
Is that a person?
No. That's like a group of 5.
Oh.
There's Dave Foley. There's Bruce McCullough. There's
Scott Thompson. There's lots of good Canadian comedians. It's just you're not going to hear from them at the moment, probably because, like a lot of comedians, nobody really wants to tell a joke when half the joke is being censored.
Well, that's today, but I mean, if you go back 15 or 20 years, where Leno was big, I can't sit here and think of anybody, even transplants, because there's plenty of people who are in Canada who transplant to America and become awesome. For some reason, that's some kind I guess because that's where Hollywood is. But I never really hear of comedians hitting that same. I mean, is Jerry Seinfeld? Is he Canadian? I mean,
think of one of the biggest comedians that you still have. He kind of got punched in the face when he was in New York, and he was in Ghostbusters, and he took a little hiatus because his wife died. What's his face? Let me get his face.
But people are mentioning Norm Macdonald and Jim Carrey, presumably as funny Canadians.
Oh, Jim Carrey is Canadian?
Yes, he is. I know that one. I didn't know Norm Macdonald was.
I guess Jim Carrey's kind of a stand-up comedian, right?
I know him more of his comedic acting, but maybe he does stand-up.
Oh my God.
Norm Macdonald was Canadian. There you go.
Was his performance with
Rick Moranis? Sorry, I had a moment there. I had a brain fart. Thank you, Spud. Good.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids probably would have got me on that one. Yeah.
But again, Rick Moranis, I think more of a comedy actor. Maybe he does stand up, but I don't know him as a stand up. I know him as a comedy actor.
Yeah, there you go. Camel says Jim Carrey started as a stand up comedian. Wasn't his performances on the show that he was on kind of stand up? Mm-hmm. What was that show he was on where he was on with a bunch of people? In Living Color. Yeah, wasn't he kind of a stand up-ish? Even that show was basically.
They had a skit for him, and I don't know if John Candy was still alive for that one, or if that was prior to, but they had this skit called with Doug and Bob and Doug McKenzie, and it's super famous. You look up Bob and Doug McKenzie, and you know that they were they were doing stand up.
Yeah. What was that?
Well, there's one for you right there, John Candy. I missed.
So he's also Canadian, John Candy?
Oh yeah.
Yes, he is.
Oh, I didn't know.
But I never liked John Candy. I'm one of the few, but he never did it for me.
I liked him for his serious work more than his comedic work. He did a show where and it was not really a comedy, it was a movie. It was about the Jamaican bobsled team.
Oh yeah, Cool Runnings.
Cool Runnings, and I thought he did a fantastic job in that movie. I was like,
that was in my
that was
city.
that was the perfect person for that role.
Yeah,
I got a little
I can't remember the movie that well, but yeah, my only thing is I never thought he was that funny. So I can believe that he did a good job in Cool Runnings.
He did a great job in Spaceballs as a comedian actor. You know,
Yeah,
I'm Barf. I'm my own best friend. You know.
I did not like Spaceballs, but
Really,
I don't like Star Wars. I don't like Star Wars. So
it wasn't Star Wars, but I mean, Star Wars is not nearly as funny as Spaceballs. Spaceballs a comedy in space. It just happens to be in space, but
no. Spaceballs is kind of making fun, like it's a parody of.
Yes, it is very much a parody of space movies, not just Star Wars, but space movies.
Like I don't like those, so it was never going to appeal to me.
Like, another one too, who's from Canada, and he's gone full liberal, and I own that he's gone full liberal. But Jim Carrey is still a comedian, and he was funny. He still is funny. He's just sucking up to Hollywood just like everybody else. Keep selling your soul, man.
Like everyone in chat is like saying how great John Candy is. Yeah, look, he was very successful for a reason. He's just not to my taste.
Yeah, well, that's going to be true. You can't always. You're not going to please everyone all the time.
No. Just like I'm sure there's plenty of people who don't like Steve Hughes, like that would listen to him and go, "This isn't funny. That idiot Terry talking about." I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of people that don't like things I like. It's fine.
I have to be real with you, Jack. Every time I watch Home Alone, I rewatch it now, thinking that the kid in that movie is technically murdering the people trying to break into his house like every 5 minutes. It becomes way more morbid.
When Dan Aykroyd is mentioned as another Canadian, I did like Dan Aykroyd.
But I mean, a lot of us do that though. Like, our Hollywood is small. So if we really want to make it on the world scale or on the international scale, we do hop the border to go to either New York or, Hollywood. That is kind of how it is. But we still have our own stuff up here. Anything that touches Toronto is dirty in my mind, and I just can't unsee that. Sorry. I love my Ontario fans and friends. But you guys got a new mayor, so have fun with that. I feel very bad for them right now. They got a new mayor. She's going to up all their taxes like a lot, and she looks crazy from here.
Cannibalistic says over on Rumble, Ron White is a comedian.
Oh, yeah, like. Ron White's pretty good.
Yeah. What was his? They call me Tater Salad.
Tater Salad, yeah. I knew it was Tater something, but yeah, Tater Salad. That's the one.
What was the joke he made? They told me I didn't have to talk, but I was unable to. Whenever you get arrested, they say, you have the right to remain silent. Yeah. And he's like, I knew I had the right, but I didn't have the will. Yeah. He's a funny comedian too.
Yeah.
I posted a poll for tonight's outro song. So for those of you watching,
a good one. Ryan Long. He's on YouTube. He's like a YouTube comedian. He's pretty good too.
There's a new person on YouTube doing jokes. Young guy, like maybe 26 or so, kind of built like a bodybuilder, but thin, but kind of wiry, but muscular. Who's really good. I don't remember his name, but it comes across my recommended every once in a while, and I watch it. It's pretty funny. But I can't remember. I wish I could remember his name, because it's one of those people you see now and you think to yourself, this guy is going to be famous. It's one of those kind of things.
About 5 minutes, you'll find the name. He's good like that.
All right. So for those of people who are on YouTube, I wish Rumble had this feature. If I were to say right now something I want Rumble to have, it'd definitely be they should have a poll
polling,
option.
yeah.
Yeah, that really should be an option there. And maybe it's because when I watch the chat, I watch it from my name instead of watching it from Minions of the Zoo's name. Maybe if you're on the Minions of the Zoo side, it does have the option to do a poll.
Yeah, maybe you have to be the channel owner to set up polls.
Because you do have to do that on YouTube. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a requirement on YouTube. So maybe I'm just missing it. I don't know. Get people over on Rumble. Did you hear about Jeremy?
No, but Under Pressure reminds me of one of the times I got in trouble at work. Because they were saying, what are some of the problems with being under pressure? And I said, Vanilla Ice rips you off. And one got the joke.
Nobody got it?
One person got the joke, but everyone else was like, what the fuck are you talking about, Terry?
There's actually a YouTube video of somebody who took the two songs and mashed them together. In other words, they took a great song like Under Pressure and ruined it by overlaying Ice Cube on top of it. What was the song called on his Ice Baby?
Yeah, Ice Baby was basically the same as Under
Changed
Pressure.
one note.
He like added one note or something.
Yeah. It's the bass line that they changed.
Yes.
On Under Pressure, it's dun 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 dun, just same thing over and over again. But he added one note between those two. Yes. That's the change he made, and got away with it. Crazy.
I mean, I think the like Men at Work shouldn't have been sued for like quote unquote stealing Kookaburra Sits in the Old Gum Tree. That was absolute nonsense. That court case.
Yeah. So what are the preliminaries on this? How do I find out where the votes are? Oh, you just click on it. Ooh, Queen is leading the Black Eyed Peas. I thought by far Blondie was going to blow this out of the water. So I was entirely wrong.
Well, I voted for Queen.
Well, everyone follows whatever you vote for, apparently.
Well, I didn't mention who I voted for.
Not this time.
The story.
It doesn't seem to matter. You don't mention it. They still vote for whoever you vote for.
And Spud says, from memory, David Bowie had a hand in writing that. He did.
He did. Well, he sang in it.
He sang in it too. But the whole thing was he was under contract with his record agency and he wanted out. So like he would like record all these terrible songs on his label, and the one that he knew was going to be a hit, he signed fully over to Queen so that his studio or his agent or whatever wouldn't make any money from it.
Angela says that song isn't public domain. None of those songs are public domain.
No, God no.
No. But we can't be hurt because we don't monetize. The most they can do, I guess you could get I guess I've never heard of it actually happening, but I guess you could get a strike for it. But they'll usually just claim you, and because we don't monetize, they can't claim anything.
Yeah.
We're not getting any money, so they
can run ads on behalf of the copyright holder. So like
well, they're going to run ads anyway. It's just where the money goes.
Yeah. So like if someone watches this stream later on, like, there might be ads running on it, but the money would go to the copyright holder of whichever song. Like in this case, Queen would get the
music I play doesn't have any vocals, so it has a tendency to kind of get on the radar a little bit because I'm talking over top of the music the entire time. You only hear clear music for like 10 seconds after I say goodnight or we all say goodnight. Then you'll hear a little bit, and then I cut it off.
That's actually a good slide into another topic, because I know you were kind of talking about Jeremy a little bit, and it slides into both his topic and like he covered this in two different videos. He talked about how he's, as far as I'm aware, as soon as I think it's June 1st, he's switching most of his stuff over to Rumble.
Did you watch the video?
He's going to be using YouTube to basically like alert you that he's going to be posting stuff on Rumble, which is what a lot of people are kind of doing. And then he's going to be putting his stuff on Rumble.
Did you actually watch the video where he told you about that?
Yes.
Because I listened to it too, and it's not exactly what I got out of it. I got out of it I'm putting some stuff on Rumble, but there'll still be plenty of stuff on YouTube.
Yeah. Well, he has to, because he can't fully move everything to Rumble yet. Like, and he's being honest about it. Like, he wants to move everything to Rumble. Like, I think a lot of people would like to, but Rumble can't handle everyone right now. Like, I really don't think they can. And Twitch is not looking very good right now as it is. So I could see a lot of people from Twitch already being on Rumble. Believe it or not, I think they are. Because there's been a huge flush of gamers on there. You know, the type of people who do those kind of streams. The other thing he pointed out is going to cause a lot of problems for YouTube. And this is a separate video. And I recommend that you watch that one, or you know, any of you really watch that one, because I don't know how much of that is true or how much of that's going to come out. But YouTube is absolutely getting dinged for the ad revenue that they haven't been sharing with their YouTube people. Like, there is a plethora of ad revenue that they are not being accountable for. Because they do stuff like that. Like, in all honesty, we don't make money on our channel anyway. So if our money actually went to the artists who made the music, fair enough. We don't make money anyway.
Yeah. I don't know why you just reminded me, but did you hear about the infinite money glitch with subscribing to yourself? I think the Spiffing Brit was the one who found it.
Wouldn't be surprised.
So basically, you would subscribe to yourself, and then YouTube would say, hey, you can't do that, and then it would refund your money. But Google AdSense would say, hey, you got a new subscriber, here's some ad revenue. And so you could just keep doing it because, you know, you didn't make much each time, but you could just keep subscribing to yourself. They keep returning the money, and then you keep getting, like, AdSense or whatever.
I recommend... Like, I recommend that you watch his video, Spud Gun, because he had a 10-minute description of it like he usually does. Like, there's more to it than what I'm just saying. And he does pull up information to describe what he's talking about. And I've never had a YouTube channel that made money, you know. No. But what he was talking about had me fuming, because it did make me think about, like Sinatra Says, you know, with his original channel, that they totally fucked him over with financially for, you know. And it's not just him, it's a lot of people that, yeah, they went back to work because YouTube fucked them over.
Just the thought of Jeremy spent 10 minutes talking about something. Okay, so we had not actually gotten to the point yet.
It's just, I don't want to take his words out of context, because
I'm just making a joke, because every video is like 15 minutes long, and the first 10 minutes is just nothing.
I know. It's usually whoever his editor is making a little video thing to entertain people. That, or he's I want to push that he reminds me of Tweek's dad from South Park. He just does. He's got that angle down to a T with his coffee brand coffee. And we are not being endorsed by Jeremy, but hey, by all means, man, if you want me to chill for your coffee, I will.
But I think I bought some coffee brand coffee for my brother, and I sent it to him as a little birthday present. And he said it was excellent. Okay. So he has asked me to buy more for him. So what I did was I gave him Jeremy's order line and said, "Here, get your own." But from what I understand, he has switched from this really exotic, expensive coffee to coffee brand coffee. So he got from me. I don't drink coffee in any way, shape, or form. My girlfriend does, but she doesn't like coffee brand coffee for some reason. She prefers good old Folgers coffee. That's her favorite. So she never even stops by Starbucks or any of that. She coffee brand coffee or Folgers coffee is good enough for her. So.
I'm curious how good the Daily Wire chocolate is, because I don't drink coffee, but I do eat chocolate occasionally. So I would be curious to see if the Daily Wire chocolate was actually any good, but I don't think they deliver to Australia.
See, I am actually curious about that too, because Hershey's, believe it or not, is a shit brand. They're actually a shit brand. Like, the only thing that they peddle that's really kind of good in terms of fresh chocolate is the peanut butter Reese's Pieces. Like that stuff, it doesn't matter how hard you put a strike on Hershey's. Like the regular stuff will sit there, but the peanut butter, nuh-uh. That stuff flies off the shelf. It just does. And I'm saying that as somebody who stalks. Like I saw how long things lingered until people were like, oh, fine, I got to do something. You know, like Easter was covered with the rainbow flag everywhere. They get away with that as though we don't know. But you can fool kids with that because the rainbow flag used to represent children too. But the Hershey's, yeah, when they were doing this little, we're going to go on a strike on the Hershey's thing, the only stuff that actually worked was the plain chocolate. Because nobody wants to admit that the Reese's Pieces are Hershey's.
I think Johnny Hellcat in chat is trying to use a racial slur and he spelled it wrong.
I think that G is supposed to be an F. I hope that's what it's supposed to be.
Well, I mean, none of us are Asian to my knowledge, so the slur wouldn't really fit. But
the L is not an O. I don't think so. Has anybody noticed if they have Skittles for Pride Month anywhere near them?
Oh, they went all white, didn't they?
They have been going all white, but I've been checking, and my grocery store still has just regular Skittles.
Okay, good.
Me too. Yeah.
Well,
mine too.
That's bad because I wanted to get a bag of white Skittles so I could take a picture and say Happy White Supremacy Month. Right. You know, make a joke out of it, but I can't find it. Good and bad. I can't find it to make the joke, but good that it's not out there anyway for people to buy. So nothing like says pride as removing all color. That's yay for Pride Month. Well, we didn't get to many of the topics tonight. That's okay.
That's kind of my fault. I got to start it on comedians.
That's okay. Good topic. Jen was right. It's a good topic. So it doesn't matter. Most of the stuff you can probably just wrap around till next week anyway. So not a big deal. Nothing really is, except for the whole thing with the affirmative action deal. We're going to know tomorrow, hopefully, what the answer is there. But I wouldn't bring that up next week. And Scribe's got it covered. If anybody's interested in hearing about it live, Scribe is covering this like crazy. So just check I'm sure everybody here is subscribed. Just check him for updates on it because tomorrow should be the big day.
I follow Scribe on Twitter. I don't actually subscribe to his videos anymore.
But he is going to do one tomorrow.
It's just too long for me. Like his TED Excellences, it's just too much stupid over too much time.
Yeah.
I like Scribe, but I can't watch those.
I catch him as often as I can, but when he's doing the TEDx's, I admit I have other things in the background, so I can like tune out and then tune back in. Oh, okay, they're still on this talk. Okay, let's go do this now. You come back. Oh, it's the same talk, and I'm like, oh,
What I like about the TEDx's so much and I enjoy so much is the bingo card.
Yes,
I love that whole thing with the bingo card. You know, that makes it fun for me because I'm constantly listening to what they're saying and saying, ah, "There's a bingo," you know.
That's what makes up for it is the bingo card. If he didn't have that, it would be depressing actually.
I think Frosted is the one who came up with the bingo card actually.
Is he?
Probably.
Everybody else has these really great things in their streams. Bingo cards and who is it is it Camel or who does the like 4 or 5 polls per stream? Who's doing that?
That might be either. I don't know. I know T-Dog does a lot of them.
Who's the person who does the gender? Are these real genders? Like 3 genders that are real and 1 gender I made up? Who does that?
That might be. Yeah,
that's the corner.
That's the corner that does that. I get them all mixed up. I boomer brain. I can't keep it separate. I just know that we have a lot of talented streamers out there, so. I think that there's a lot of polls for that kind of stuff too. Which of the 4 are the best ones? That kind of stuff. So, anyway.
But Frosted said, "You're on the corner, right?" In reference to me saying, too much stupid over too much time. Like that's different. I get to make fun of Jack and Moon on the corner.
You get to make fun of Jack on Quippers United.
Yeah,
that's always the opportunity. That's why these are all successful, because you always get a chance to make fun of Jack.
Yeah.
You know, he was on earlier. I don't know if you caught it, but he was on chat earlier. We should have closed the stream down.
Yeah. No, I pointed that out as soon as he arrived. I was like,
I missed
no,
it.
too early.
No, too early. No, come back at 10 o'clock. Speaking of 10 o'clock, it's 5 after. So we should
Yeah,
probably get out of here.
Poor Frosted. I'm stuck.
I need sleep and I need food. So yeah, we should probably cut it down.
Frosty can't remember his own show. All right, yeah. Let's considering all the problems that we're having with the internet connection tonight, might be a good idea just to let it go for a change. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm check next week and try to do even more to figure out what's going on. Maybe I'll contact Xfinity and see if I can have them bump up my internet speed. It's already gigged down and 40 up. Maybe I can see it getting even better upload speed if it's not too expensive. But I'll jump off that cliff when I run to it. Thanks, fam, as always, for chatting with us tonight. If you can't wait for the next Wednesday show, remember, the meeting is live every evening, including weekends, with most shows starting around 11:30 p.m. Eastern, 7 days a week. Hosts and start times are listed in the description down below. Don't forget our pre-show on Rumble. That stream will start before 9 p.m. when all 3 hosts are online. And it's crazy. We talk about all kinds of crazy shit there. We will be back next Wednesday at 9 p.m. as usual. I hope you guys enjoyed the show, and we'll see you again next week. Have a great night, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.